Back at Nutmeg Bowl as we get set for the second semifinal of the BuddiesProShop.com Open. I'm Mark Robbins along with Don Harger, and we're going to take a look at the two participants in this second semifinal matchup. And in the first matchup, Don, we had the classic student versus the teacher with the college student and the college professor. And in this matchup, we have the battle of the sexes as Amanda Beck, the top seed in this tournament at this point, against Bill Webb of Guilford.
Absolutely. Amanda ran away with the field during her qualifying. She bowled so well. She's here at the semifinal match bowling against last tournament's winner, Bill Webb. This is going to be a great match.
Yeah, our viewers certainly very familiar with Bill Webb from Guilford. Won it last month at the Silver Lanes in East Hartford. In fact, when it comes to NEBA, he wins a lot. 14 titles, the all-time leader.
He has been there receiving that check more oftentimes than anybody else. You're right.
And Amanda Beck is a former bowler on the Women's Pro Tour, an exempt player, also a member of Team USA in 2004. And while they warm up, Don, the question begs, it's the battle of the sexes. Does size and power mean much of an advantage in this game?
It's going to sound like a cop-out because I definitely don't want to make any enemies. However, I really don't think there's an advantage being a guy in bowling. There's no defense to this game. It's just you against the pins, your opponent against the pins. If you watched Amanda bowl all tournament, I can't understand how anybody would think she has a disadvantage. She's definitely strong enough to throw the ball. She definitely has perfect form, just like anybody else out here on tour. She's got a lot of accolades that we'll talk about during the match. I don't see any advantage bowling against Amanda Beck.
Now, Bill Webb, of course, we talk about him with 65 300 games in his career, a long-time member and bowler at NEBA, and a man that you said can go up against anybody in the country.
You know, if I were a betting man, I would put Bill against anybody. Like I said, his game is, in my opinion, almost as perfect as can be. He's very, very solid throughout his whole approach. He doesn't do anything crazy to throw his timing off. He's always, his arm swing's always in a perfect spot. He knows equipment, he knows lane conditioning, he knows a lot of different lines and how to approach carry and the pins. To me, he's the complete bowler.
Two righties. In fact, all four of our participants here in the semifinals are right-handed. A few lefties made it to the round of 16 and one into the quarterfinals, knocked off by Amanda Beck, who is a school teacher and a fourth grade teacher at Academic Leadership Charter School out in Long Island. And she is from Oakdale, New York. And I mentioned a member of the former Women's Pro Tour, and I would imagine if they can get things going again, she might give that tour a shot. And I'm sure bowlers around the country would like to see a Women's Pro Tour again.
You're right. It's actually a shame that the women have been kind of cut off at the knees, even though they can enter the men's tournaments. And I don't think there's any advantage in being a guy. It's just it's just tough for them to raise the money and to go through all those different personas and different things to go to every single tournament.
So we're just about set as the warm-up period continues, and Don, you mentioned that while they get 10 minutes, oftentimes you don't need the full amount of time, and you can be ready to go, especially at this point when they've been bowling basically all day for the last 2 days.
Yeah, again, there's a lane that's open about 4 or 5 pairs down the way so they can practice and warm up. They like to get about 6 shots on each lane right here, just so they can line up a little bit. I think we're almost ready to start, though.
So we've got Bill Webb against Amanda Beck, the winner to take on Eric Cornog of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in the championship match of the BuddiesProShop.com Open. And boy, it is a pleasure to be here on CPTV Sports, bringing you this second semifinal match, this tournament Final Four and championship, if you will. And it'll be Bill Webb to lead off at the choice of the top seed, Amanda Beck. Well, he got the 7 to go late, and it counts.
Great shot for Billy starting off the match. He's such a cerebral bowler. You don't realize all the things he's thinking of. It's almost like a pool player when you're going to set up the next shot. He probably, you see how the reaction you get, and then you kind of thinking about your next move already.
Interesting you bring up pool. That's another sport. Men usually play against men, but I don't know why women can't compete against them in that too.
Right.
All right, and a second straight strike for Bill Webb to start this second semifinal match. We're going to take a quick break and resume the action of the Buddies ProShop.com Open on CPTV Sports. Back in Fairfield at Nutmeg Bowl, Buddies ProShop.com Open resumes with the second semifinal coming up now between Bill Webb and the top seed through the qualifying and bracket play, Amanda Beck. That's right, we've got a true battle of the sexes, Don Harger. And the question, as we look at Bill Webb getting set to start, the question begs to be asked, does it matter whether you're a man or a woman?
I watched Amanda bowl throughout this tournament, and there's no way anybody would have an advantage over her just because she's a woman. I'll tell you that. Watch the way she throws the ball.
And we'll watch Bill Webb first at Amanda's choice as the top seed. And he opens just the way you want to with a strike.
That was a good shot. You know, Billy got a little bit clean in the heads, and he actually put the ball down a little bit earlier than I'm used to seeing. And that ball took off to the left, and it actually almost stopped right in the pocket. So he got a good break. I saw a couple of, like the 7-9 fall late, but he was able to carry that strike.
Here's Amanda Beck, school teacher, 4th grade teacher from Oakdale, New York. And she starts with a strike.
Yes, children, that is your teacher, bowling just like that.
And she has been bowling for quite some time, a former tour exempt player on the former Women's Pro Tour and a member of Team USA in 2004. You see her average as a bowler and her 6 perfect games. And she, again, the top seed in this tournament. And she starts strong with 2 straight.
I'll tell you what, she has perfect form. Her approach is very slow, fluid, and solid. She gets down really low at the foul line, great extension. Again, no disadvantage for being a woman. You teach anybody how to throw a ball like that, and they're going to be competitive out here.
Bill Webb, of course, very familiar to our viewers here on CPTV Sports. Just last month, the last show we did at Silver Lanes in East Hartford, the 14th NEBA title for Bill Webb, the all-time leader for this group.
He has accepted that check more times than anybody else.
And he got some help as the 10 goes down.
You know, with this type of shot, when the bowling balls are coming in on such an extreme angle from the outside, you're going to see what's called a messenger. You're going to see late pin action, especially going after the 7 or the 10 pin. We haven't seen that in a long time because this is a short oil shot. Usually the oil patterns go down further down the lane, and it doesn't allow for the bowlers to play so far out towards the gutter. But this one did this week, and you're going to see those old-fashioned messengers, those late hits, and it's pretty exciting.
Now Webb and Beck tied through 2 frames, each striking to open the match.
65 300 games. Wow. Calling mom right after you bowl it 65 times.
And again, the late action, same shot, same result. Was it the same shot?
It actually was. He's getting a good reaction. He's going to stay right there. As long as that pin comes off the side wall and hits the 10 pin, he's not moving.
Look at it again and talk about that late action.
Good, solid at the line. He's got great extension. The ball goes all the way out to the 3rd board. Comes all the way back a little bit late, but watch the head pin come all the way off the side wall, bang into the 10 pin. Makes for an exciting strike, doesn't it?
A little nudge. And now Amanda Beck in the 3rd frame. No need for late action with that.
You know, I don't know if Amanda really has been challenged too often today. The matches that I saw her play, she just ran away with it. So it's going to be interesting. They're both starting off with strikes. We're going to see a little bit of the mental game actually come into play. Look how low she gets the foul line. That allows you to get the ball down all the way down the lane. It saves the energy for when it hits the pins.
Definitely in a groove. And now here in the fourth frame. She's got another one.
Another perfect shot. Amanda is locked in. She's making shot after shot after shot.
And look at this. And is there a difference between her strikes so far and what we've seen with Webb?
And not much. She's getting great pin action as well. And I love to see a lot of pins on the deck flailing around, because when you see the balls that just go boom and knock down all the pins, that's when you leave your stone 8 and stone 9 pins. But when you get the balls, the pins flying back and forth side by side, that's when you get your best pin action.
All right, now Bill Webb. Fourth frame and another strike, another 4-bagger.
We are watching two of the best bowlers in the area right now go head to head. To repeat shots in this environment, tournament on the line, cameras rolling, nerves of steel. And I'll tell you what, they are perfect all the way through 4.
And now he's going to a different ball. Is he using a different ball from different lane because of the different lanes?
He is actually. We noticed on the left lane, he's getting a little bit longer reaction. So the bowling ball that he's throwing on the right, it's skidding a little bit too far on the left. So he wants to go to a ball that picks up a roll a little bit earlier.
And Webb here in the 5th frame.
That ball came in a little bit strong. 7-9 is a super bad break. Either the 7 or a 9 pin, you could take that, right? But the 7-9 split is probably going to be an open frame for him.
Look at it again, and where did it come in?
Watch how hard it hits, and it a little bit high on the head pin. Just a tiny bit.
And that late action wobbled the 7, but it wouldn't drop. So now a very tough split. On a scale of 1 to 10, how tough is this?
Pretty much impossible.
And he uses a 3rd ball and takes out the 7 and an open frame, and that gives Amanda Beck an open opportunity.
You're just trying to do damage control. You're not going to make that spare, so you just got to make sure you get 1, because that's going to count as 2 in your final score. If you noticed, Amanda popped right up out of her seat right when Billy left that split. She's dying to go right now. You definitely want to put a lot of pressure on your opponent right here.
Working on a string of 4 to open the match. Amanda Beck here in the 5th frame. Didn't get high enough, maybe?
I'll tell you, I was going to bring it up before the shot, but I didn't say anything. In that moment right there, if you throw another strike right at your opponent when they throw a split like that, it just is an immense
You step
boost.
on their throat.
Exactly. So she got up and she threw a ball. I don't think she really relaxed and hit it at the bottom.
Oh, and she nudged it over in time, got the 3 to drop. And a spare, a mark in the 5th, will give her a bit of an advantage.
Well, if she struck, she'd have been up about 35 pins. But now that she just made a spare, she's definitely let Billy, right back in the match.
So Amanda Beck and Bill Webb see their string of strikes end at 4 in a row to start the match. And Beck starts another one.
She liked that ball, but she's still a little bit upset at herself for the last frame. You could tell. That ball was perfect. She stayed within herself. The last frame on 54, she just wanted it too badly. She just didn't relax.
A little over anxious. You mentioned she popped right up, and she was almost coming out of her shoes, waiting to get on the lane.
She has to know who she's bowling against. Billy's one of the best.
And he starts a new string in
One
the
of-
6th frame.
One of the best things that Bill is able to do is when the lanes start drying out a little bit, he doesn't have to move. He is able to just throw it a tiny bit harder and harder and harder anytime he wants to. That's a gift, because most people, when they throw it a little bit harder, they fall out of timing. He doesn't. Watch, he just throws this a little bit harder because he knew the last ball he threw, even though it was on the other lane and a different ball, it went high. He didn't want that to happen. He threw it a little harder, same line. He's picking up the same ball that he left the split on 53 last time, but I guarantee you he's going to throw this ball a little bit harder so it doesn't cross over a little high on the head pin.
And working from behind with trying to make up a disadvantage. Does that play into it?
Well, if you throw a double right back, then you're only a few pins down.
Looked perfect to me.
There it is. I mean, you know, he doesn't make many mistakes ever. When he does, he doesn't make two.
So 2 strikes in frames 6 and 7 for Bill Webb. And Amanda Beck comes up now. She's already struck in the 6th. As we look at the last roll by Webb.
A little bit more speed just to make sure the ball didn't creep high, and he put a perfect shot in the pocket.
Here's Beck now, the 7th frame.
That's a good shot.
And it wobbles and won't drop the 2.
Interesting. Now, everybody who's playing on this final pair right here is playing on the outside of the lane. What that's doing is it's taking the oil from the front part of the lane and it's pushing it down further, down the lane. So I thought that was a great shot. She was totally balanced in control, but that ball went a little bit further than she thought it would before it started breaking.
Well, she picks up the spare, and when we look through 6 frames, well, through 6 frames, Amanda Beck at 147 with the mark on the 7th. And Webb is at 136 plus.
Yeah, actually, Billy throws one more strike. He's got the lead.
Beck needs a strike here. And she got it. A double bit of side action.
Even though she carried that strike, you notice the ball's going down the lane a little further and further. It's not coming back quite as strong. So she's going to have to think about moving in the final frames of this match.
Well, in the late action, as the pins go their separate ways simultaneously, those last 2.
Yep, the 2-8 are standing. A pin falls right between them, and she gets the big break. But it's going to be interesting to see how Amanda adjusts because her bowling ball's going further and further down the lane.
Now here's Webb. He seems to have gotten back into a groove with 2 straight strikes. Make it the turkey. That's 3. And the 8th frame is a strike, and he's got the lead through 6.
So like I said, I don't think anybody's pushed Amanda quite this hard during this tournament.
And now Webb looking to strengthen and increase his advantage.
Again, going to the different bowling ball, different surface on lane 53. He's going to make sure he keeps that speed up so the ball hits the head pin, but on the right of the head pin somewhere.
Trying for a 15th New England Bowling Association tournament title.
Billy's only up 10 pins. If Amanda strikes out, she's going to make Billy throw the first 2 strikes in the 10th.
Add another 4 straight for Bill Webb.
Well, I don't care if you're a woman or a man. You bowl against Bill Webb, you're at a disadvantage, in my opinion.
Look at it again. What makes this one so perfect?
Again, his timing is perfect. His arm swing is perfect. His balance is perfect. He could do anything he wants with a bowling ball.
And now, as Webb relaxes, or at least sits down, Beck steps up in need of strikes. She brought it way back, but left the 10 pin.
If you could hear On television, what I heard, as soon as she released the ball, I heard this pop. Her thumb actually stuck in the ball just a hair, and it actually went a little right of target, and it kind of flipped the ball. So when the ball came out of the oil and it went left, it went with everything, and then it kind of stopped. It's called roll out, and she was fortunate to leave a 10 pin.
And she picks it up for the spare. But I would imagine she needs to strike out here in the 10th.
She strikes out. She's got 237. Billy's up in the 250s, so she knows she needs to throw 3 strikes here and then wish for a little bit of magic.
There's the first of the 3 that are needed.
That's a great shot, and it shows your mental toughness. You know you're in trouble here. You gotta go up to the 10th frame. You gotta throw 3 strikes in a row just to put some kind of pressure on Bill.
Great composure.
She's not happy with herself, obviously, but she's got to put 3 strikes right in the 10th frame. Fantastic bowler.
Two straight. And she's showing you the moxie. A pro.
You know, when everything is going right, it's pretty easy. But when everything's not going right, to actually stand up like that in the 10th frame and throw 3 balls like that.
It's sometimes tough to get it back when you've had it and then you lose it quickly. It's very tough to bring, no matter what the sport.
Yep.
Trying to strike out in the 10th, and she does. So Amanda Beck, finishing strong at 237, puts a little bit of pressure on Bill Webb.
So Billy basically needs to stay clean in the 10th frame, either spare or strike, and he should be okay.
Just avoid the split.
Exactly. We saw, what was it, the 5th frame where he had the split. He came right back, made the adjustment on that left lane with a little bit more speed. That's why he's so good.
Rolling to reach the final. Well, it's a split. How difficult is it?
This one's not too bad. The 2-8, all he has to do is move just maybe 2 boards on the approach to the right with his feet, throw a strike ball. He should come in on that angle.
And what happened here?
You know, he knows he has to stay clean. He probably didn't want to hit it so hard and go through the nose and leave a split. So that was kind of a careful shot right there. And, you know, the result is a 2-8, pretty easy spare. Now he has 233. I don't want to say if he misses it, but he actually needs the spare right here. And that's how important it was for Amanda to get up and strike.
It came down to the last frame and the last roll, and Bill Webb left 1 pin, and Amanda Beck rallies to reach the final.
If you want a lesson in bowling right here, competitive bowling, I don't care how bad it looks. Go up and do what you got to do. Put pressure on your opponent. Make him show up in the 10th frame, because anything can happen. The lane conditions, if you miss left, the ball hooked out of the building, and that's exactly what happened when he went to make that spare. It hooked too far to the left, and he misses the easy 2-8.
And the 14-time tournament champion in New England Bowling Association, Bill Webb, out of this tournament in the semifinal on the last frame on that roll, not picking up the spare, and Amanda Beck with that rally, as Don Harger was just talking about, gets into the final. What a tremendous second semifinal we have had. And we're going to take a quick break and come back with our championship match. It'll be Amanda Beck and Eric Gornog in the championship of the BuddiesProShop.com Open here on CPTV Sports.